Hello everyone, my name is Dylan and welcome to another walk and talk adventure. So we're going to start off by roaming the streets of Japan, and then we are going to explore some incredible nature, all whilst learning English. Let's do this. Japanese temple right there. Cool.
Okay, yeah, so that's a pretty good introduction. Welcome to the video once again. So this is Dylan from the future. And as Dylan from the past just explained, we're basically going to be going on an adventure. This is me making my way towards the streets of Umeda, which is, as mentioned, quite a popular area in Osaka, because I want to get some cool street footage before we head off to the nature. So let me just give you a bit of a preview of what's going to happen here. So it's a bit of a chaotic journey, you'll be pleased to hear. It's never simple, is it? So we're walking around here for a bit. I'm going to show you my excellent Japanese skills by ordering a coffee, fluently in Japanese, of course. And then we are going to hit the nature. Here we bump into some snakes, some guard dogs, some fans, of course, multiple dead ends, and we do also have a bit of a problem when we get to the bridge as well. So yeah, quite a lot to look forward to, I guess. Right, so let me just explain how this video is going to work. As you can see, we have the footage here. I am going to be commentating on this a bit as well. At times, I will show you the footage of when I actually recorded myself speaking to the camera in more of a vloggy style. So you're going to get a bit of everything. So yeah, this is Umeda. It's actually my favorite place in Osaka. Yes, I'm in Osaka at the moment, which is south of Japan, kind of south. It's the second biggest city, I think. Maybe Kyoto is, I don't know. I don't think it is actually the second biggest city, but it's kind of the second main city. So we have Tokyo at the top, then we have like Osaka and Kyoto. Neck and neck, I would say. But this is a really nice area. So I did make a video here in Osaka before, walking the streets. That was in Namba, which is a very popular touristy area. I don't really like it there very much. I've been there for about 2 months, and to be honest, I'm sick to death of Namba. So I normally go to this place instead, and well, it's a lot cleaner, as you can probably see, and fewer tourists, which is always a good thing. And one thing I do like about Japan is that they have these, and it's the same in Korea as well, it isn't just a Japanese thing, but they have these temples and stuff just really well integrated into the street. So you'll be walking along this very modern looking street, you'll see like a Starbucks and some, burger place or something, then you'll be walking for about 30 seconds longer, turn to your right, and here you are in this ancient temple thing. Yeah, anyway. So we have a nice mix of actually commenting on the footage, and it's going to be a great way to go on a bit of an adventure from the comfort of your own home or wherever you are watching this video. And of course, you'll get the chance to improve your English listening abilities, which is always a good thing. Right then, so I do have a long list of things that we are going to discuss, so let's get into this one. So what's first? Let's talk about YouTube, because my YouTube is low-key just dying. My channel is dying. Yeah, but it's not just me, thankfully. Well, yeah. So you may notice that there are a lot of YouTube channels at the moment who the creators aren't really getting the views that they were getting before. I'm definitely fall into that category, unfortunately, but it's not. If you look at some of your favorite YouTubers, maybe in this niche of teaching English, or maybe in a different niche, it's something that's happening across the platform, the views are kind of dropping for everyone, and it's a bit worrying in some ways, but I'm not too worried in other ways. So firstly, why is this happening to everyone? Well, there are a few reasons. Firstly, everyone's attention spans are lower than they were before, right? Myself included, but for obvious reasons, because we have all of this short form content now, and we've had this for a few years. We're used to the instant replies and gratification. This is all old stuff. We already know about this. It's a bit boring at this point, right? So I won't spend too long talking about this. So that means that people are less inclined to watch longer form content, which is what now this video is going to be a long form video. It's probably going to be about an hour long, and most of the videos on YouTube, compared to like really short TikToks and reels and stuff like that, mainly longer form content, so people are less likely to consume that type of thing. Right, I think I'm going to be speaking Japanese here. Yeah, here we go.
おはようございます。元気ですか？はい。ラテください。ラテ、はい。はい。店内で飲まれますか？はい。ブレンドでよろしいですか？ブレンド。ああ、そう。これください。ブレンド。と、ください。はい。
God, I look so tired. Anyway, what can I say? Watashi wa Nihongo hanasemasu. Yeah. So we'll get onto my Japanese learning journey in a second, but this is a really nice cafe, and this is the type of vibe that you get in Umeda. So quite modern and very aesthetic, and it's quite funny because you saw the screen thing at the top. They play this background music, and I thought I recognized it somewhere. It's kind of like a melodic chill song, and I just knew that I recognized it from somewhere, and I couldn't quite put my finger on where I'd heard it before. And then I realized it was in an art museum in Taiwan, and quite a weird exhibition, and they were playing a video there, and they used the exact same soundtrack, and it was weird because I go there fairly often to that cafe, and well, this is me doing my shop for the big adventure, and it's just weird hearing that sound and thinking, where do I know this from? It's like, oh, I heard this 2 years ago in that one art museum. That's so crazy. All right, we will get back onto the YouTube point in a minute, but first we're doing the big shop because we are going to be in nature for a few hours. So got to start with the banana. I do not agree with this whole wrapping individually wrapping bananas in plastic business. They're already individually wrapped. They come with their own natural skin. Why do you need to throw some plastic on top? You know, it's pretty crazy, to be honest with you. So yeah, I didn't really know what to go for because it was a hot sunny day, so I had to bear that in mind because it meant that I wasn't able to get certain foods that weren't going to keep in my bag. So for example, I wouldn't be able to get sushi or anything like that because it'd probably go off it was going to be in my bag for a few hours before it was eaten, and it was a hot day, so it wouldn't have survived. So I mainly went for sandwiches, which to be honest, I'm absolutely fine with because as an English person, I love sandwiches, and Japanese sandwiches are the best. So I think I went for an egg sandwich and like a ham salad type thing. Yeah. We had to go for 2. And then, well, this is a nice little preview of what a Japanese convenience store is like, because you see a lot of these type of videos on social media, right? Everyone is filming themselves inside these stores. I decided to do the same thing, but for different reasons. We're already here. And I went for a protein bar. You know, realistically, protein bars are just chocolate bars that say protein on the front of them. So it's a good way to justify eating that type of thing. And I feel like if you're going out into nature and you're doing a walk and you're doing exercise, you can kind of justify eating whatever you want. So I wasn't really too worried about my diet on that particular day. And we went for these nuts things. They actually turned out to be delicious. A bit salty though, which isn't really what you want on a hot day, but thankfully, of course, as you're about to see, I did get some water. Got a bottle of water. But of course I needed a bottle of something else as well, so we went for this just in case I got bored on the train ride back. I'm joking, but just for reference, that huge bottle is £7. It's 1,400 yen, about £7, about €9, about $10. So cheap. I think that was a litre of whiskey for £7. You know, the alcoholics have it good out here, let me tell you. Anyway, so we're nearly done. Yeah, I had to get some gum. I'm really into gum. Since Argentina... yeah, and God, it's all happening too fast. I can't keep up. So I wanted to get some matcha thing because I love matcha. I've never had this before. It was a complete blind purchase, but I mean, it was pretty good in the end. It was basically like a matcha loaf thing. It was very soft and spongy, the texture, and those beans were, I think they're like not red kidney beans. They look like red kidney beans, but I don't know. I'll find the name of those bean things and put it on the screen in case you are curious. Anyway, we're now making our way to the nature. So we had to get the tube to another station, and then from that station, yeah, they have like these things you can the stations are quite fun in Japan, I can't lie. That's an ice cream vending machine. You have the drinks vending machine. You have like the things to get the toys. They're fun. They have loads of toilets as well everywhere, and they're quite clean. So that's a good thing. Everyone talks about the transport in Japan, and rightfully so. Now, I can't lie, I felt as if I maybe rode this train illegally, because I feel like my ticket wasn't really qualified for this level of train, but it's all good. It's all good. I didn't get caught or anything. And it was an accident, right? But this train just felt a bit nice for my like travel card thing. I'm used to the tubes, so yeah. And anyway, we were on here for about 20 minutes, and then we got on another train for 20 minutes, and it was actually a really pleasant journey. I was dreading it a little bit, but it was really nice. And by the way, if there is anyone in Osaka who's watching this, or anyone planning on going to Osaka and they haven't been to this place before, so the place we're going to is called Hashida Park. It's about an hour away from the center of Osaka. It's so nice. It's such a nice, firstly, it's deserted. It's deserted, and it isn't like fake nature. There isn't like a small park and then there are still like buildings around it. You can hear cars and stuff like that. As soon as you step off the train in the station, you are fully immersed in the nature. It's amazing. It feels so, yeah. And it was, as I say, it was deserted. I saw one other gaijin, one other foreigner, and the rest of the people there were just old Japanese grannies going for a walk. It was amazing. So this is the final destination. This is the station. I'm going to stop speaking now because I want you to listen to how quiet it was as soon as I arrived. Tranquil. If you compare that to just the busy, noisy streets of Osaka, this is just, it's so nice. It's so nice. It's so nice. I do speak about this a bit more in a minute. So here we are. We had a bit of a problem here. Not really a problem, but basically I really wanted to film this part because this felt like natural residential Japan. But the problem is that there was like a primary school there, and all the kids were coming back from that school. So basically it was full of children that I didn't really want to film for obvious reasons, you know, a bit weird. So I was there for about 10 minutes trying to find a clear route where there weren't any children, because I wanted to go along that path with the trees either side of it. And it's quite funny. I'll show you in the footage in a minute. I'll just pause myself speaking, but the kids, I was just walking, and then I heard and I kind of saw in my peripheral vision the kids like, YouTube, because I was walking around with my camera, and I said, hi. So it was actually really funny because I was trying to almost like avoid them for their privacy, right? And then they ended up speaking to me and saying hi, so that's really funny. But as you can see, just as soon as we step into this town, it feels like a different place. This doesn't feel like Osaka. It's right on the outskirts, but it just felt so peaceful. And I think I'm in Japan for a bit longer, and I think this is the type of environment that I need at this stage. I thought I wanted to live in a busy part, Namba, but having been there for 2 months, it's driving me crazy. It's driving me absolutely insane. And there are so many things I want to talk about. It's going to be a ramble. I hope you're okay with that. We still have the YouTube topic to get back into. So the week before I was filming this, so about 2 weeks ago, I was just feeling really, really stressed because I wasn't maybe in a bit of a rut, but I was just doing the same thing. I was going to the same cafe. I was just in the center, eating at the same place, and it was just a lot of people, very busy. And when that happens, you start picking up other people's energy, and it's very stressful and very easy you lose track of time, and everything just feels like a blur. Right, I'm going to interrupt myself because I'm going to pop up on the screen in a minute. So yeah, enjoy this cameo from past Dylan.
This is so unbelievably nice and peaceful and quiet. As soon as I stepped off the station, the silence was deafening. It was so noticeable. It was just nothing. All you could hear was the sound of footsteps. It was amazing. And as I probably mentioned, I was stood outside the station for about 5 minutes because I wanted to film that part, but there were just kids everywhere because it's next to a school and I didn't want to film them for obvious reasons. It's a bit weird, right? So I've managed to find like a route adjacent to the path I wanted to go on, and there were still like kids in the corner, but you couldn't really see them. Then I just heard like YouTube, and then I just heard like 4 different kids say hello, hello, hello. I turned around and they were all waving and stuff like that. And then the same thing happened about 10 seconds after. So yeah, it's funny. But this is amazing. I'm already lost, by the way, and we haven't even started the hike. But it's so peaceful. I'm happy. Sorry, those birds are very rudely disrupting my peace and quiet right now. Whoa, do you see that? A butterfly. So we did have a river here, I'm guessing, but it seems to be dried out. I'm not too sure when it was a river, because I don't know, we just had winter, right? So surely if it was going to be full of water, this would be the time. Like, it hasn't really been that sunny or that hot, not hot enough to evaporate all of the water. But still, it's chugging away slightly. And another thing, I know I've mentioned this before, but another thing I do love about Japan is the fact they have these really cute animations everywhere. It's really sweet. And that's a bamboo tree as well, an authentic bit of bamboo. And there's someone up there. Cool. Okay, so we have not a dead end, but no, none of that, please. No snake warnings. I've got to be on alert. Please, no snake warnings. Okay, if you see any snakes, please warn me. I will be on high alert as well because I hate them. That looks scary. Damn, how cool would it be to go in there though? I bet there's some crazy stuff in there. And yeah, is this locked? Are we trapped here? Maybe we can. Okay, we can. Not too sure if this is allowed, but okay, yeah, we are officially lost. See, I really want to go this way, but I've just seen this sign, and what is it? What's the problem with everyone having guard dogs and snakes and stuff like that? I can't. I've got so much PTSD when it comes to these sorts of environments, just hot, sunny places in nature, away from everything and everyone, but they have guard dogs. Because this is just, I'm going to flip the camera. This just gives me PTSD, as I say, because this is the exact same environment I was in Jeju Island about 3 years ago. It was just like this. I was by myself. I wasn't filming, but it was hot and sunny. There was a mountain there, and I'd gone off the path that I was supposed to go on, and I was attacked by a guard dog, and it was terrifying. So as much as I would love to just go down there and hope for the best, I'm going to go back on the path, because sometimes you just have to take the L, accept defeat, and keep going. Okay, peace. Okay, we're going back on ourselves. There was a potential route back there, but I honestly don't really want to risk it because, you know, it's like 1 o'clock now. My phone's dying a bit. I've got the portable charger, but still, you know, this doesn't last forever. And we haven't even reached the place where we're supposed to get to yet. So if I'm not careful, I'll just be walking around here. It's very lovely here, but it's not why we're here. We're here to go to this. I don't even know what it is. I know there's some woods there, and there's a bridge, and there are loads of trees underneath the bridge. Yeah, but it's amazing so far. Very tranquil. So I'll be back in touch when we actually know where we're going. Okay. Cherry blossom. Not a cherry blossom.
I really like that. I really like that. I'm actually planning on next week. I'm planning on filming a video similar to this, but I want it to be more focused on that sort of vloggy nature where I'm actually walking and talking with the camera. It's you need to get used to that though. I feel extremely self-conscious walking around and talking, but it's just something you need to get through. Funnily enough, I was listening to a podcast this morning in the gym with Michael from Level Up English, which is a podcast for learners of English, and Luke from Luke's English podcast, who I'm sure you might be familiar with. He's pretty big on YouTube. And they just happened to be talking about the exact thing I was just talking about then, where the nerves that you have and the fact that you feel a bit self-conscious and insecure when you're walking around and filming yourself in public, it feels a bit
This is the one.
cringe in a way. And it was just really good timing, but very weird as well. I just happened to, because I've spoken with Michael before, and I actually went on his podcast a couple of years ago. It was so cringe. I just looked so nervous the whole time. But he's a great guy, and make sure to check out his podcast as well, Level Up English. It's really good. And I'm sure you're familiar with Luke, as I say. Anyway, I just randomly threw on that podcast, and they just happened to be talking about that one thing that I, as of yesterday, was worrying about. And it's just what a coincidence. Anyway, distracted once again. The point is, I am going to start filming some more videos in nature and also in the streets as well, of me actually looking to the camera and speaking directly towards it, because I think it would be fun. Anyway, we are going to go back to the YouTube bit because I got completely distracted then. God, I don't know if this video is going to be really good or if it might be an absolute mess. Oh wait, there's just one more thing I need to speak about. So basically, I am lost at the moment. This is not the way I should be going, because when I plan these adventures and these walk and talks, I'm pretty reliant on ChatGPT because it's just a great way of getting information right, and it's good at this type of thing, saying, "Oh, I want to do this walk, and I want this. I want it to be. It's for this video. I want it to be this long. I'm here. I want this type of vibe. Where do you recommend?" And sometimes it will just chat absolute rubbish. But the problem is with Mr. GBT is that it says everything with such confidence that you can't help but believe it. And that's a problem. And it's a problem right now. I'm going to cut to past footage of myself in a minute, and I'll explain this in a bit more detail. But this is stunning, right? This is so beautiful, this nature. I love this sort of environment. The trees, the thin path up to the woodland area with these cool man-made but natural-looking steps. And it's just amazing. But basically, there are two routes you can go on with this path. So the place we're going to, Hashida Bridge, you're supposed to get to a certain area. I didn't know where that was, but it's kind of like the base of the mountain, whatever you want to call it. And when you get there are two different routes you can take. There's the left route, which is like the easier one, and then there's the right one, which is the harder one. And Mr. GBT he made sure that I knew that I was not to go down the easier one, and he really stressed the fact that it's very, very easy to accidentally go down the left one. So that was in my mind the whole time, because I was very aware of that whenever I came to any sort of split in the road. I was thinking, is this it? Is this the road I'm not supposed to go on? And at first he said, "Oh, there are loads of signs, don't worry, you won't get lost." And then I came to one, I stopped the footage, I took a photo, asked GBT like which way should I go, and the first time he said, yeah, this is where most people mess up, as I'm about to say. So don't go left here, don't go left here, turn right, turn right. I said, are you sure there are no signs here? You said there'd be loads of signs everywhere telling the tourists where to go. And he said, no. I was wrong, bro. I was wrong. That's my bad. But definitely go right. So I went right, and there was a dead end. Okay? And then the same thing happened 2 minutes later. And that's where we're going now. We're going up this path, right? Because Mr. GBT told me, he was adamant that I needed to go up this path. So the second time he's done this, and we haven't even reached the base of where we need to get to yet. And, well, I'm just going to show you the footage now. Enjoy.
So if you're wondering, and I'm sure you are, I actually decided to eat the egg sandwich as soon as I got into the station. Not because I was hungry, but because I opened my bag and it was so squished and it looked terrible, and it kind of just ruined the aesthetic. So I didn't even want to carry that in my bag. So I just decided to eat it to get rid of it. And it was actually really nice. But we're down to one sandwich, one bag of nuts, bottle of water, a protein bar, and that weird matcha thing, I don't know what it is, and some gum. So I think we'll be all right. But yeah, I probably spoke about this on the footage as well. But ChatGPT again, sending me down the wrong path. It's so confident in everything he says. That's the problem. I showed him a photo of the sign that went to the river, the path we weren't supposed to go on. And he says, do not go on this path, do not go on this path. I sent him a photo of this other trail to the right of it. He was like, mate, this is 100% the route you should be taking. This is where most people mess up. So well done for actually checking with me and going on the right path. You're doing better than 99% of people out there. Then I went up there and it was a dead end. So I sent him another photo, the exact same photo of the sign that he originally was so adamant that we shouldn't go down, we shouldn't go that way. And he was like, actually, my bad, go that way, go that way. Didn't really believe it, so I tracked back a bit, found this route, and he was like, mate, this is it. You have found it. You're the best. This is why you're the best. Because, oh, it's a dead end. It's another dead end. After all that, it's another dead end. It looks amazing though. Wow. Look. Nice route. But yeah, it's a dead end. Okay, maybe it was right. Okay, so that's the way we came. And I'm not even mad because look at this. That's the most beautiful dead end you will ever see. Damn, it's lovely. It does mean we have to go all the way back down, but as I say, it's hard to be mad. I wish it was lunchtime because that would be a chill place to eat. But, so we could go down there. Probably not going to do that because I have no idea where it leads. But this is that's Osaka from the nature. I know which side I'd rather be on. Okay, I'm going to go shout at my ChatGPT till it tells me the correct way to go. See you in a minute. Didn't work. There's no point trying to speak to it when it's in this mood. So we're just going to go down. This is all part of the journey. It's all good. I did this on purpose. And I'll try not to slip because it is actually quite steep. I saw a lizard earlier, but I didn't actually bother taking a photo or a video because I was just trying to find the right path to go on. But it's all good. We've got time. We have time. So the next time you see me, hopefully we will be going on the right path. I don't know if I mentioned, but if you're wondering why I'm wearing a beanie on this hot sunny day, just a bad hair day really. We all have them more often than not these days, but it's all good. It's all good. So it's hard to be mad when this is your background because this could be a thumbnail. I might make this the thumbnail. We'll see. Okay, so we're about to hear. This is the exact sign that ChatGPT told me not to follow. This one right here. Now it's saying we should follow it. And this is where all the Japanese people comment saying, that literally says go this way to the top of the mountain, though ChatGPT is such an idiot. Yeah, I agree. This is so obviously the way as well. Oh well. You see the problem here? I feel like we should go up there, but I've been misled too many times before. I feel like I just stop recording and ask, you know who, what that means. Should probably just keep going that way, but I feel like this could be the way. Alright, I'm just gonna ask him. I'm not even gonna ask, I'm just gonna go this way, because I don't want ChatGPT to lie to me again. It hurts too much. And that would be the third time we've hit a dead end, thanks to him. So, if I go, this is the way, okay?
Yeah, so not really smooth sailing there. So there was another dead end, a very aesthetic dead end, as I made sure to say in the footage, but it did ultimately take me the wrong way. Anyway, this is, well, is it the right way? We'll see in a minute. Now then, what was I speaking about? Right, YouTube, yes. So a few reasons why everyone's YouTube is struggling a bit. Firstly, as we said, people's attention spans are a bit cooked, as the kids say, which means they're not very good, and therefore they're less likely to watch a longer form video. Not everyone. If you're watching this video, I mean, we're half an hour in, then you're not one of those people. Thank you. Secondly, because of TikTok and just because of people's attention spans now, snakes. Seriously, what was that about? Anyway, that means that YouTube over the last few years have kind of been subtly tweaking the algorithm to push short form content more. So YouTube Shorts, I think they've rearranged the homepage and the way that the search feature works so that Shorts, I think they did this fairly recently, they made quite a big change so that short form content gets more exposure. So therefore, longer form content, like actual videos, like the ones that I make, they get less promotion. So that's one of the reasons why. And another reason, oh yeah, so this is we were following this path and everything was going so well, and a road, another road. So I'm going to cut to myself in a minute. God, it's going to be a pain in the ass doing all this editing to make sure it all lines up. It's all good. Anyway, this is past me. You can hear the anguish in my voice. Enjoy.
What is this about? What is this about? I followed the signs exactly, and everything was going so well. We were on the river walk. We were definitely going the right way. And now we are back where we don't want to be, by the side of a road. So, just trying to work out the controls. So there are two signs here, and I'm going to translate them myself. I'm not going to use you know who, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
So yeah, I thought I was lost, and I kind of was, but then it turned out that it was I was making a hill out of a mole. No, that's not the expression. A mountain out of a molehill, which is an English expression meaning that you're making a really big deal. A mountain out of something small, which is a molehill, which is I'll put a photo on the screen. Yeah, it was actually just three very easy to read signs telling me exactly where to go. Yeah, anyway. So, YouTube. We have the attention spans, we have the algorithm, and also AI has been another contributing factor, because it's people are used to faster answers. So let's say, for example, you want to improve your vocabulary. Before, you would maybe type into YouTube, advanced vocabulary for English learners, or how to improve my vocabulary. Or if you're just scrolling YouTube and you saw one of my videos saying, stop using these boring words, use this instead, you would click on that, and that would be a fun way for you to improve your vocabulary. But now, what you can easily do is just go into ChatGPT and say something like, hey man, I've noticed that I've been using the word happy a lot, and English isn't my first language. I'd like to, what are some alternatives? You know, how can I sound more native? and you send that, and just like that, you'll get a personalized response with 5 alternatives, and it will use your name and it will tweak it to your personality because these machines know you, right? So you can just do that instead of clicking on a 15-minute video and watching someone like me talk about that. So that's another thing. That's another thing that has definitely affected views, and maybe that's why I'm looking forward. Maybe that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to make a video like this, and why I'm really looking forward to doing like outdoor vloggy type videos. This is moisturizer, by the way. I don't know why. I'm just having it in my hand for this video. Anyway, because you can't AI this, you can't really AI this. You can't like chat GPT this type of thing, like a fun adventure. And it's a bit more podcast focused, which I like, and I've mentioned quite a few times over the last year or so, last few months. That's the direction I want to get to. So yeah, we're good. Anyway, nothing more aesthetic than a bridge shot. So I can't lie, it's slightly discouraging going onto YouTube and just seeing all of your videos doing really poorly, but I'm not too worried because, well, just with the YouTube thing, when you upload a video, you have like this platform called YouTube Studio. It's basically the back end. And whenever you post a video, it rates your video out of 10, depending on how well it performed. So 1 out of 10 means it has performed the best out of your 10 most recent videos. And when that happens, you get a big green arrow pointing upwards, and you get green ticks, and you get confetti coming out of the screen, and you get so much dopamine. It's amazing. Haven't had that in a while. And 10 out of 10, you get all the grey arrows going down. And it's just, it looks terrible and it makes you feel awful as well. And I've been getting a lot of 10 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s, 8 out of 10s. So out of the last 10 videos I've posted, views wise, they have performed the worst. Okay. It measures average view duration, which is how long the person on average stayed on the video for. The click-through rate, so when they see the video, what percentage of people clicked on that, and the views. And it measures the success, the 10 out of 10 thing on the views. And the problem with YouTube is that everything is so quantifiable, which means it's very easy to measure, and therefore it's very easy to compare how you're doing now to how you were doing previously, which is great when things are going well, although it's not that good because you feel amazing, but there's always this constant pressure to outdo yourself and to make sure that nothing slips. But it is nice when things are going well. When things aren't going well, views wise, as is the case at the moment, it's very demotivating. I'm going to be honest. Like when you have spent, because I work pretty hard on all my videos, and it involves a lot of late nights, a lot of stress. And when you've just been working relentlessly hard for the last few days to make a video, you post it, and then you check your studio a couple of hours afterwards or the next day, and you see the 10 out of 10 and all the grey arrows pointing downwards. It feels pretty rubbish, to be honest with you. It doesn't feel great, and it can be a bit demotivating. So, of course, the answer to that is just not worry about the analytics so much and just do what you want to do. But it's a lot easier said than done. Right, I'm just going to go back to the original footage. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay, so we have 2 options. We can either go left, which is the more leisurely route, it takes 25 minutes, or we can go right, which is apparently a harder walk. It only takes 15 minutes though, but it's more aesthetic. So you already know this one's called the adventure route, so we have to take that one, obviously. Let's go. Hopefully I don't encounter any snakes or bears or squirrels or pharaohs. Pharaohs? I don't know how to say that. I think I would have made that joke by now. So you should be laughing twice as hard as you did the first time. Cool. Let's do this.
And we're nearly at the top. We're nearly at the bridge. So as mentioned, it will be about 10, 15 minutes. But there is a slight problem here. I actually lost the footage. Yeah, so I lost 2 hours worth of footage, and those 2 hours just happened to be the most significant part. Is when I actually, after this long, arduous journey, when I actually arrived at the bridge, and I lost I have no idea where it is. which is very annoying. So listen, we're gonna have to come up with a solution here. So what I've done is this is footage that I filmed later on in the day, and I've managed to reverse it, right? So it looks a bit like this. This is how it looks when you get to the top. Stunning, it's beautiful. Let's just focus on how nice it looks. Don't worry too much about the logistics of how I did all this, but it looks incredible. And so few people there as well. No one there. I was extremely surprised. I thought it would be absolutely rammed. I thought it would be full of tourists and locals, but especially tourists, and it wasn't. It was really nice, peaceful and quiet. So this is the bridge. This is what we've worked so hard to get towards, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Very high up, and there wasn't any like safety nets or anything underneath it, which I was surprised about, but it's fine. It's fine. It didn't feel unsafe to me. And God, it was so nice. It was just peaceful, and just seeing all of those green, luscious trees was exactly what I needed. So yeah, unideal, losing those 2 hours of footage. Basically, when I was filming it, I got to the end of the bridge, and my phone ran out of storage, so I had to delete some old videos, and I guess I just accidentally deleted some of the most recent videos that I just filmed. These things happen. These things happen. Yeah. But we can still enjoy this, right? So we're going to walk along here for a bit, and then we're going to go to this viewpoint, which actually gives you a point of view from the top, and you can see the bridge down below. So it gives you a nice perspective of how big this place is and what the lay of the land is and that type of thing. You know what? We're going to run out of time here. So this is probably going to end up being quite a long video because I have so many things I'd like to talk about. I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling it. I've had a bit of caffeine, so maybe that's why. Anyway, YouTube. I'm not too worried because even though it is discouraging when the analytics are telling you you're rubbish, I feel confident that over the last 3 years, and I've had my channel for about 3.5 years, I have slowly but surely built up a loyal, small but loyal following. So, and I feel like we have a pretty good connection, right? And I've done that through the YouTube videos, of course, the weekly uploads and the newsletters. So every Tuesday I send a newsletter. It's completely free, by the way. I don't know why everyone doesn't subscribe to it. It's every single Tuesday a newsletter, and it's fun and it's original, and I tell you about what's going on in my life or what I'm thinking about at the moment, some cool things that I've heard recently. So my most recent one that I sent this Tuesday, I thought was really cool. I'll speak about it in a minute. But I think that alongside the weekly Spotify uploads, so I post all of my videos to Spotify as well, completely free once again, and the very infrequent, sporadic Instagram uploads and the TikTok and stuff, but mainly the newsletter, I'd say, has helped build a strong community. And I'm not just saying this as some sort of manipulation tactic, like, oh, you guys know that we have something strong here, so I know you're never going to leave, you're going to be a loyal, right? That's not it. It's just true. It's true. I'm not, despite the fact that the views are down, and it's a bit worrying because you don't know how long this will continue for. It might never stop. My channel might die. I've spoken to people in my community on video calls. I used to have one-to-one lessons with them and in the DMs and stuff like that. And when you actually see that they're real people and that you have like a real connection with them, it's a lot less scary. Okay. I'm also not that reliant on, I'm not fully reliant on YouTube revenue, the ad revenue, and I don't do sponsors, which is a good thing because, I mean, as soon as your views start to drop, then the sponsors are just going to stop paying you. They're very fickle, obviously. You know, business is business. It's nothing personal, but I've never really done them. I think I've done one paid sponsor. That was about 2 years ago. Yeah. So, but thankfully, I've actually made products that help people. For example, I have this incredible online course. I'll speak about that a bit later on. And that means that I don't have to sell random, language services that I don't actually use or products that I don't believe in just because they send me a few £100 like most other creators do, he said smugly. And I don't have to try too hard to appease the YouTube algorithm to make sure that I get enough views, that I make enough money from the adverts so that I can eat that month. So that's one of the reasons why I'm very glad that I made this course, is because it's a win for everyone, I would say, because it means that the YouTube experience is better for you, and also it's because I don't have to do all these things to make sure that I make enough money to, you know, keep doing it as a job. And it's a win for me because when stuff like this inevitably happens, you know, YouTube is a bit dangerous to be solely reliant on one platform, especially a platform that is as, what's the word, volatile as YouTube. I guess that's the right words. Something that changes a lot and is completely outside of your control. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. So that we're just gonna leave that topic there. But yeah, everyone's YouTube is kind of struggling a bit. You may have noticed it, but it's okay. I'm not too worried. I'll continue to post good quality videos, and that's all I can do. That's all I can do. If you are looking to support me, then subscribe to my newsletter. It's free. Subscribe to my Spotify. It's free. You know, like and comment, all of that stuff. But whatever, you don't have to. Anyway, we're going to cut back to past Dylan. Enjoy.
Okay, so here we are at the viewpoint. So you can see the bridge there, just about. Yeah. No one here. Once again, it's very nice. So I sat down, I had my lunch. Obviously I had the egg sandwich earlier. I had the other sandwich and the protein bar. And I think that's it. And it was all delicious, actually. So yeah, I'm not really too sure what to do, to be honest with you. I'm so surprised that there's just so few people here. I'm happy about it, but it's a bit weird. So I think we're going to go here. I'm going to follow this route, and this will go to some hut or something, according to you know who. And then we will probably walk around for a bit longer. I know I'm so lucky to be able to film these videos, but it's kind of like there's always the I'm trying to find the right balance between filming and making sure to get the right footage and actually sort of being present and enjoying it. So yeah, it's a hard life, what can I say? But we're gonna walk around for a bit, and then eventually we will head back into Osaka civilization. But for now, we're here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so there we have, that's the view of the bridge. I'm now going to be, you just heard, we're going to be walking around here for a bit. And I think that's the last of the past Dylan vloggy bit, so we can actually speak and it's going to be a bit less interrupted. So we were talking about, yeah, so we're done with the YouTube. We're going to talk about something that I thought was very interesting. I heard this earlier this week on a podcast, and my Tuesday newsletter this week was all about this, and it's something called the Dartmouth scar experiment. And this is a true story, right? So in the 1980s at Dartmouth University, which is a very prestigious university or college in America, there were some psychiatrists, I think, some sort of scientists that did this test. Basically, they got in a group of volunteers and they wanted to test how people's behavior changed when they thought they had something wrong with their appearance. Okay, so they got these participants in and they basically said to them, we have these professional makeup artists here and we're going to draw a huge, gruesome looking, really realistic scar on your face, right? So they sat down, these makeup artists, they did their thing, and they created this really, really realistic looking scar that looked almost unnatural. It was huge. Didn't, not something that most people would realistically have. And then they showed the participants then looked in a mirror so they could see their scars. And of course, they felt a bit self-conscious, okay? They felt a bit worried because after this, they were then going to send them out to have an interview with someone, with a stranger. So they get these people in, we're going to apply a scar, then we're going to send you out, and we're going to see how it goes, right? So they have these huge scars on their faces and they say, how do you feel? Oh, I'm a bit nervous, a bit scared because I don't know how this interviewer is going to react. They send them out, but just before they do, the makeup artists come back and they say, sorry, we're just going to make one tiny adjustment before we send you out. We're just going to make this look a little bit more realistic here, then we're going to do that. So they work on them. And they actually end up completely removing the scars. But the participants don't know this. They say, oh, we're just going to touch this up. They completely remove the scars, okay? Then the participants go out. So in their minds, they still have this horrible, gruesome scar on their face. But actually, what they don't know is that at the last second, the makeup artists completely remove their scars. So they have just their normal faces, but in their mind, they have these scars on their faces, right? So they go out, they have their interview, they bring them back in, and they say, how did the interview go? And they all say the same things. They say, oh, it was horrible. I felt so awkward, and the person treated me differently, and they wouldn't stop staring at my scar. It was so uncomfortable, and they wouldn't even look me in the eyes, and I just felt horrible, and it was just terrible. All of these things, all these really negative things. And then they tell the participants to look in the mirror. And for the first time, they see that they didn't actually have the scar on their faces in the first place. It'd been removed and they didn't know about it. So the whole point of this is that because they went into this interview with the mindset that they had something wrong, they had this big thing on their face and they're worried about it, that changed how they acted, which in turn changed how the interviewer actually treated them. So that's one idea, or you could say that the interviewer actually treated them normally, but because they were so self-conscious about this scar that they didn't even have, they perceived the interviewer's otherwise neutral actions as something negative. So they were kind of making up these negative things in their head, like, oh, they were staring at my scar the whole time. Well, they probably weren't. They definitely weren't, because you didn't even have a scar there. So that's just something that you made up in your mind. And it's just interesting. I think it's extremely interesting how your beliefs ultimately dictate how you act and therefore your reality. So that can be true for scars, like made up scars on your face. It can be true for your accent. It can be true for your poor English skills. So I didn't really send that in order to, I haven't really told you this in order to share some profound message with you. Although, you know, those messages are very interesting and something that is undoubtedly useful for you to remember and apply to your life. But I just thought it was cool. And that's the type of thing you could maybe expect on a newsletter, or just something that I wanted to share now. Now, you might be thinking, why do you have a newsletter? It's quite an unusual thing. Well, there are a couple of reasons. Firstly, I had a comment the other day saying, why do you keep promoting your newsletter? Why are you asking for our email addresses? I think it's a bit unethical. I think if you're planning on selling our data to China and Russia and all of these big evil companies, you should at least tell us, right? And I wasn't angry, but I'm not doing that, obviously. Okay, but I wasn't angry at this person. It was just more like, okay, we need to clear this up. I'm not selling your data anywhere. Ethically and morally, of course, I wouldn't do that. And even just from like a business point of view, it doesn't make sense to do that. So don't worry, I'm not doing any of that evil stuff. It's just that I started sending this newsletter about 2 years ago, maybe about a year and a half ago, and it goes out every Tuesday regardless. So why wouldn't I want more people to receive it? It's the same amount of work for me. And why do I have a newsletter? Well, it's fun. Firstly, it's like a fun Tuesday tradition. I feel good having every Tuesday after I successfully send a newsletter, I feel good. And I get some replies as well saying, oh, great newsletter. And it warms my heart. When people say they like my videos, of course that makes me happy. When people say, oh yeah, I subscribed, I commented, of course that makes me happy. When people say they like my newsletters, oh God, I just tugs at the strings on my heart. It makes me feel so profoundly pleased. And it's like, okay, you like my newsletter? I love you. I'm in love with you. Thank you so much. Because the newsletter feels personal to me. Because it is personal to me. And this is the last thing I saw of this place, Hoshida. The station isn't called Hoshida, but how could I didn't want to leave because it was so nice. We had the live music in the background, the beautiful sun setting, these luscious trees, the blue sky. It all felt very authentic and Japanese, and no other tourists or foreigners or anything like that, which really helped to. And obviously I don't have anything against that. I know I am a tourist and a foreigner, but having spent a bit of time in Namba, by the way, I did get 2 ice creams. Yeah, I had a matcha ice cream, and then about 5 minutes later I had a chocolate ice cream, and I don't regret it at all, because as we said at the start, when you've done a bit of walking, you can eat what you want. You've earned it, you know. So I basically sat here for a bit and just took it all in for about an hour. I was sat here. So yeah, it was very nice. Anyway, I'm just going to throw some random footage on after this and we'll keep talking for a bit. So the reason I have the newsletter is because it builds community, as I say, and also, I mean, that's the main reason. It's fun and it builds community, and you don't really need a better reason than that. Right, we have so many other points that I want to speak about, so let me just find something good. Okay, so this is completely random, but that's fine. If you're watching this far into the video, 50 minutes in, then you're okay with a bit of randomness. So I was speaking earlier about how people have changed with, you know, especially younger people who are growing up with short form content and TikTok and YouTube Shorts and stuff like that. They're going to have a much shorter attention span, and that's especially true when it's firstly all that you know. So if you started watching that stuff from the age of 12 till like 20, then your brain is just going to be fried, and it's the sad truth, because it's still developing at that age, and also it's all that you know, it's all that you remember from your childhood. Oh yeah, just scrolling. It's really sad, to be honest. Of course it's avoidable. You don't have to consume all of that content at that age. It's just you'd have to be intentional with not doing it. And it makes me glad, and I'm sure that you are of a similar age to me. I think maybe my audience tends to be a similar age or a bit older, but it makes me glad that I didn't grow up with social media like that. So when I was about 15, 16, that's when Instagram first came out. So I'm 28, by the way. And that's when Instagram first came out, but it wasn't like how it is at the moment. So back then, Facebook was still like the main social media thing. Snapchat was new. Instagram was new. We didn't have TikTok. We had Vine, but it's not like TikTok. And it wasn't really as dominant as TikTok is now. So I grew up alongside social media. So I had the normal life and then the social media stuff on the side, but there wasn't even short form content. When Instagram first came out, it was just photos. As far as I'm aware, there weren't videos, and well, maybe you could post a video, but there wasn't a section for reels in the same way that there is now. You couldn't really scroll. And also, as soon as you finished scrolling all of the accounts that you followed, that was it. There isn't an endless scroll like there is now. You could finish scrolling and then you'd go on to something else. You close the app and do something else. So it was nowhere near as addictive as it is now. So at the moment, you may have seen this, you may not have, but there's this thing called Looksmaxxing that's going around, which is basically, I think it's mainly for guys, and it's basically saying that the most important thing for young guys is to be as physically attractive as possible. So you do this thing called Looksmaxxing. You max out how good looking you are. And it's so bad. It's so bad for a few different reasons. So firstly, some of the techniques are just crazy. What are they? So you can do this thing where you get like a hammer and you break your cheeks. You break the bones in your cheeks a tiny bit so that they grow back stronger. And you have the definition, you have a more defined face, maybe like a better cheekbones. Maybe you can break your jaw a bit, get a stronger jawline, that type of stuff. What else is there? Facial exercises and stuff like that, and cosmetic surgeries and steroids and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily just the things that you have to do, the techniques. Don't get me wrong, breaking your face is pretty weird and unnatural, but it's more the mindset that your looks are the most important thing in your life, and that all that matters is that you're good looking, because it just isn't really the case. And it means that you're going to neglect your personality, and you're going to neglect real skills that actually matter when you're older. But it's mainly younger people that do this, and I'm so glad this wasn't a thing when I was younger, because I definitely would have bought into it. Because when you are younger, I'm going to be honest, for me personally, and you know, and for other people as well, which is why this Looksmaxxing thing has been so successful, I cared so much about looks. It was the most important thing for me, and I was so self-conscious and unbelievably vain, and all I wanted to do was be like, I really, really wanted to be better looking. So I'm so glad that this type of thing wasn't going on during that time, and that social media in general wasn't as popular as it is now, because that's one of the other reasons why other people are so even more insecure than they otherwise would be, because they're constantly comparing themselves to like the Instagram, you know, the perfect people with the filters and stuff like that. It's not actually real. Bit of a boring subject, as we know, but it is relevant to the Looksmaxxing thing. And people sell these courses. So I have a course, not a Looksmaxxing course. I have an English course, and it's incredible. It took me a year to make. I'll speak about it later, don't worry. But it's just, and it actually benefits your life. But the type of courses these people sell, they probably threw together in about a week or a month, and they charge loads of money for it. And they just prey on people's insecurities to get them to spend their money, give them the money to buy their course. And it's just, when you are young or at any stage of your life, you shouldn't be solely reliant on building your looks, because it's kind of the least important thing. Of course, you want to be you want to be presentable, and you want to have good hygiene and stuff like that. There's no excuse for poor hygiene, of course, and everyone wants to look nice, but you shouldn't make it your sole purpose in life to be as physically attractive as possible. And I'm just really glad that that wasn't there, because it's going to mess with so many people's heads and how they feel about themselves. And I can see why it's so popular though amongst young men. I'm not too sure. I guess women have kind of had that for a bit longer, just this feeling that they need to look a certain way, and that's been like that for a few years, because there are more female like beauty influencers, right, than there are male ones. But I think it's changing a bit now. I'm not saying, I don't really know what it's like being a woman, obviously, so I don't know what pressure they feel. I'm sure it's still quite bad, but I know that over the last few years there's definitely been a much bigger focus on men in particular to look a certain way, to be better looking. So yeah, I'm not surprised by the success of this trend, and I'm just really grateful that it's not that it wasn't around when I was younger and more impressionable. So yeah, if you have kids, maybe just check in on them, make sure they're not like breaking their faces in order to look better. By all means, you want to look your best. I completely understand that, but there is a limit. It shouldn't be your priority. Right, let's find a couple more things to speak about. So, right, here's a good quote that you can say to other people, and that actually might be able to, that might make you feel a bit better when you have some misfortune. You don't know what worse luck your bad luck has saved you from. You don't know what worse luck your bad luck has saved you from. So let's say something bad happens to you. Something, you're unlucky with something. So just as a random example, let's say that you are catching, you need to catch a train, but you have bad luck in the sense that the lift in your building broke in the morning. So you were on the 10th floor and you knew exactly when you had to leave in order to catch your train. but the lift broke. So that's bad luck. And you therefore you had to use the stairs, and it took an extra 5 minutes, and you ended up missing your train. You're thinking, oh God, that's so unlucky. That's so unlucky that the lift just happened to break. I was so annoyed. I missed my train. And then, but the train crashes. That's just a silly example, but you get the point, right? That's awful luck, the fact the train crashed. So the bad luck of your elevator breaking has saved you from the worst luck of this train crashing. Once again, just a silly example, but you get the point now. So I guess this is a good thing to think about sometimes when we have bad luck, as we all do from time to time. You don't actually know the outcome of that. You don't even know if it's a bad thing. You can't really pass judgment on that. There's this story, and it goes something like there was it was set in a village quite a while ago, and there was this boy, and he was given a horse or something, and everyone says, oh, that's amazing, that's amazing, that's amazing. And the old man says, we'll see. So the boy gets on the horse, and he falls off and breaks his arm, and everyone says, oh, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible. The old man says, we'll see. And then a couple of weeks later, there's a knock at the door, and basically the boy, there were some people trying to draft the boy to fight in this war that's going on, but the boy can't because he's got a broken arm, so he's not able to fight in this war. And all of his family are like, oh, it's amazing, you don't have to go to war, that's amazing, amazing. And the old man says, we'll see. So basically, you shouldn't perceive something as either good or bad. It's just what it is, and we don't actually know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. This is very easy to speak about, and it makes you sound very smart, and I'm sure it makes you yes, I know we should all be applying this, but it's so much easier said than done to actually apply this, right? It's the same with Stoicism in general. I don't know if that counts as Stoicism. I guess it kind of does. I wrote a newsletter a few weeks ago about Stoicism, and it was really popular. A lot of people liked it. And Stoicism makes total sense. Everything, you read it and you think, yes, that's exactly how I should be living my life. That's so smart. Why didn't I think of that? Of course I shouldn't put any of my emotions in something outside of my control, because I can't control them. So therefore I'm just setting myself up to be disappointed or sad. But it's so much easier said than done, right? When something bad happens that's outside of your control, of course you're going to be like, oh, for God's sake, really? That really happened? That's so annoying. If you were a Stoic, you'd be like, yeah, it's outside of my control. Who am I to care? But of course, in reality, we're going to be annoyed by that, So even though Stoicism is probably the answer, it's just extremely hard to actually put it into action, right? And that's kind of what this quote is as well. Right, as mentioned, I am going to film another video next week where I'm going to actually be walking and talking to the camera. So I do have a long list of topics, but I kind of want to save some of those for that video there. So we'll come up with a few different ones, but I did kind of promise you, I promised myself as well, that due to my dying YouTube channel and my incredible course, I'm going to talk about that just a little bit. Feel free to skip forward like a minute if you would like to. But basically, all of last year, I made an online course. It contains 5 modules. The first module is, so the whole point of the course is to make you feel more confident in real British English, so the stuff we actually use on a daily basis. Imagine that a native British speaker just took all of his knowledge about the language and the culture and just put it into a course, and that's basically what happened. So there are 5 different modules. First one is vocabulary and expressions. That contains 42 lessons. I'll teach you all of the words and expressions you actually need to know on a daily basis, and this is stuff that ChatGPT can't teach you because ChatGPT isn't a native British speaker, so he doesn't know he doesn't know the difference between all right and you're right. He doesn't know when we say cheers and why we say cheers. He doesn't know when to say fair enough. He may have a rough idea, but he doesn't actually know how natives do it. The exact subtle nuances of when we use these things. Only a native speaker knows that. Okay. So that's the first one. And by the way, throughout this whole course, there are downloadable PDFs. There are 125 downloadable PDFs and 125 interactive exercises. It's incredibly comprehensive. The second module is all about mastering your British accent. I teach you all of the theory you need in order to develop a natural accent, and we have loads of shadowing exercises as well. That's an extremely popular module. Third module is speaking, all about mastering your speaking skills. So here I teach you some of the techniques, so how the manner in which we talk, and the small, subtle things we say and what they actually mean. And then I teach you some very useful expressions you can use when you are in the middle of a conversation. Say you want a filler word because you're not too sure on what to say next, or say if you are in a business meeting and you want to sound professional, or you've just heard some bad news, or you've just heard some good news. It basically just covers everything you need to know. And there are 52 lessons, maybe 53 lessons on that module as well. We have loads of interactive exercises where you and I will actually be having conversations. It's really good. Covers all the different levels as well, from B2 to C2. Module 4, listening practice. So 25 original tests for B2 to C2 level. Really good, really fun. And then the last one is all about British culture. So we have 10 different guides about what the culture is like. So this is perfect if you're considering moving to the UK, if you're a bit nervous, or maybe you're living here and you don't really feel like you fully fit in. So we have the module, so we have one of the guides on the working culture. We have how to make friends here. We have romantic relationships in the UK. We have the humor, we have the food, all of this really useful stuff. And in total, it has over 210 lessons, 125 PDFs, 125 interactive exercises. It's incredible. It's all taught by me. I haven't outsourced any of it. So if you enjoy my way of teaching, I mean, this course is amazing. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can try it completely risk-free. And also, depending on when you see this video, that I have just started a private community as well. If you join now, I'll add you to that community. And that means that you get weekly calls with me, weekly live calls. And you can ask me any questions about the course. And also you can just hang out and chat with other people, with myself and of course the other people who took the course as well. So it's a lot of fun. Link to that is in the top comment. Check it out. I would appreciate that. Thank you, Ben. I do genuinely, that's why I don't do sponsors, because I don't need to, because I've just created this incredible program instead. And I genuinely believe it's the best course out there. And I've had so many people tell me that it's just incredible and that they love it. So I'm really grateful for that. Anyway, and there is the free Tuesday newsletter as well. So every Tuesday I send you a newsletter, link in the top comment as well. You get a bonus YouTube video when you sign up. Check that out. Okay, that is all the promotion I need to do in this video. I have Instagram as well. It doesn't really matter though, but it's British Education _ and Spotify as well, where I post all of my YouTube videos. That's just British Education. And TikTok, if you feel so inclined as well. And that's just British Education as well. Sorry. I do need to do these bits of promotion every now and then, because this is my job, so I do need to make some money, you know, just to survive. Because as mentioned, YouTube, it's not paying much these days, and I don't do sponsors, so we have to do it this way. Okay, so I'm thinking that maybe I will save some of these topics for next week. So is there any final points I would like to discuss right now? I'll leave you with one final bit of wisdom, whatever you want to call it. Get more sleep. Get more sleep and try to get a solid sleeping routine. Because I know you've heard this so many times before, but it makes all the difference. And I'm someone who has struggled with sleep for years, so I know what it's like to be underslept. I know how frustrating it is to not be able to sleep properly. Trust me, I know that. But I've just been taking it a bit more seriously recently, and there are a few things you can do, which I'll tell you about them now. And I heard this from a guy called Brian Johnson, who you may know. He's a very extreme person who has basically fully optimized his life to be as healthy as possible, to try and live for as long as possible. Fascinating guy. If you'd like to hear more about him, go onto Spotify and type in Brian Johnson and Modern Wisdom. That's a good podcast. Anyway, he is taking it too far, but that's fine. This is not a judgment on him, but you don't have to do all the stuff he does, but he spoke about how to actually sleep really well, and I've implemented some of these things and it did make a huge difference. So firstly, you want to be sleeping for different people need different amounts of sleep, but in general, between 7 and 9 hours. I know that's not possible, but it kind of is. I know that some people genuinely won't be able to do that because maybe they are incredibly busy and they have kids to look after, they have to work 2 jobs. That's fine, but for most people it is doable. Maybe you just need to, spend a bit less time doing other things. I don't want to sound preachy, sorry, that was not my intention, but I think it's important. It's made a huge difference to my life, and everyone says, oh yeah, sleeping is so important. It really is. It's made me so much happier and more creative, and I just feel so much better. Anyway, the tips that you can apply. This is a huge one, you want to go to sleep and wake up at roughly the same time every single day. So have a bedtime and stick to it. Every night you go to sleep at 9, every night you go to sleep at 10, whatever. And every morning you wake up at 6, every morning you wake up at 7, 8, whatever. You want to, and this is a big one, you want to make sure the last thing you eat, so your final meal of the day, is at least 2 hours before you sleep, ideally 3 hours, because when you're digesting food, it's harder to sleep. That's something that doesn't sound like it would make that much of a big difference, but it really does. Caffeine, some people are more sensitive to caffeine than others, but you should, as a general rule, maybe have your last caffeinated drink about 8 hours before sleep. So if you go to sleep at 8, then the cutoff is 12, go to sleep at 10, cutoff is 2. Once again, it depends who you are, because sometimes caffeine won't affect you that much, but for most of the other thing, it does play quite a big role in not being able to sleep. Dim the lights an hour before you go to sleep, so just try and cut all of the lights in your flat. Obviously you need to be able to see. I'm not saying just walk around in complete darkness, but that once again sounds like it wouldn't make that much of a difference, but it really does, because it just makes you feel more sleepy in general. And those are the main ones, to be honest with you. Just the regularity with your sleeping schedule, an hour before, dim the lights. Try to not eat 2 to 3 hours before. Caffeine 8 hours before. And also the hour before, Brian Johnson basically said you want to keep your heart rate, you want it to get it as low as possible before you're about to go to sleep. So no like scrolling or stuff like that, because obviously that's just like gonna fire up your brain or whatever. Maybe like read in bed or something, or listen to a podcast, watch this type of chill video, that type of thing. So yeah, and that's it. They sound small. I've implemented those things and it has made a big difference. Okay, right, I think I will leave you there. If you're still watching, then you're over an hour in, so thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. If you have enjoyed today's video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and maybe check out some of those links as well. And yeah, I appreciate you. I think it's going to be a bit of a weird time with YouTube over for the next, I don't know when I don't think it's going to end. I think it's always I think it's just going to be a new normal now. So we will see what happens with that, but I appreciate you watching this video and I really appreciate your support, so thank you so much as well. And if you have a favorite YouTuber, make sure to show them some love right now. Make sure to comment on their videos and stuff like that and support them, because there are going to be a lot of people, such as myself, who are kind of a bit worried about this whole thing. So we might be feeling a bit helpless at the moment because we feel at the mercy of the algorithm or AI or stuff like that. So yeah, show some love. Right. I need to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely evening, a lovely morning, whatever the time is. And I will see you next Friday for another video. And hopefully I will have plucked up the courage to have walked around a bit, and actually I will have spoken to my camera directly in public, like a vlog or something like that. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Right. Thank you so much for watching. Lots of love. I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye.